Friendship supreme. Friendship supreme. Finding the geek within.
Hey everybody, my name's Michael,
My name's Cleve.
My name is Stephanie.
and welcome back to another exciting episode of Friendship.
Sir.
Pre.
One of the podcasts there's asked, have you ever been watching a TV show and been like, I know that voice?
I think I have. And the reason I have is the reason that they're having this episode today. Today we are talking about Phil LaMarr. Are you
One of
familiar with
the
Phil LaMarr?
largest voice banks in the world, I feel like.
He's had over 200 characters, 250 characters that he's done. I tried to start making a list just because I wanted to talk about him, and it just outgrew me.
Got too
And
crazy.
I couldn't do it.
I believe it. I think the only one that would closely rival him would be Hank Azaria, I feel like. Does a lot of ones that he gets in trouble, or he got in trouble for. I think he did Apu from The Simpsons and got in trouble for it. Later on, like he was like, I didn't realize that it was offending people, and then kind of like backtracked it. But yeah.
Oh, the fact that there was one character who spoke with an Indian accent and they gave it to...
You would also know him as the guy that threw around silverware in the Mystery Men.
Gotcha.
But anyways, back to Phil LaMarr, sorry.
Yes. So Phil LaMarr is a voice actor who... there's one or two times where he's really had a main thing. And other than that, it's just been side characters. Stephanie, do you know who he is? Because I bet you I can start naming stuff and you'll recognize him immediately.
I was trying to look him up because I don't know the names of voice actors very well. I will hear them and be like, oh, that's the same person from whatever.
You would recognize his face. Maybe he was one of the original cast of Mad TV back in 1995.
Okay.
He also was in Pulp Fiction. Do you remember the Marvin character? Vincent and Jules come and quarter pound with cheese, fuck up the house, and take the one black dude with them and accidentally kill him.
Yeah.
That's Phil LaMarr.
Yes. Okay.
Very few times is he like live action available. But if you do this like a pharmacist or some shit, like it's nothing super big.
Mm-hmm.
Michael, you look like you have a thought.
No.
Oh, okay. I don't have a direction. I just want to talk about him.
Oh, no, I would say that the voice that I think of him the most in is Hermes.
Yes, he voices Hermes in Futurama. And that's the thing too. He's not like the guy that voices Bob's Burgers. I don't know if you've ever seen him in other characters, but it's just that voice. And they just create different characters for him.
Yeah, well, like Bob and Bob's Burgers, also Archer.
Yes,
Which are
Archer.
two very different characters, but same exact voice.
Family Guy, the comic book. The convenience store worker.
Mm-hmm.
The guy with the backwards hat or whatever. Yeah, he's that same voice. He is 53. I didn't realize how much time has passed for him because we never actually see his face. But he grew up a big comic book fan. He went to Yale. He helped found this improv group called the Purple Crayon, which is the second oldest improv group for Yale. I didn't know that there was records to hold on to, but he's doing it. He was also... I found a list of different improv groups and, improv group names. So we're going to go over those. The Groundlings, the Second City, Improv Olympics, and Cold Tofu.
None of those sound appealing.
No. So the reason that I emphasize on Cold Tofu is because Cold Tofu started 1981-ish, and it's like the first and longest running Asian American improv group. Um, After a while, they started obviously just bringing in people, and Phil LaMarr was part of that group. Well, the English was a hint of like a Japanese accent
Hmm.
is what he used to help create the voice for Samurai Jack in the Samurai Jack cartoon.
Oh,
He's he's Jack.
yeah.
I wasn't sure if you knew or not, or if you've seen that one. One of my favorite cartoons
It's a
because
fantastic cartoon.
yeah. Stephanie, one of the big appeals to me for that cartoon, if you've not seen it or anybody listening who hasn't seen it, none of the characters are outlined in black. Everything's
Yeah.
just the color. It never is like overlapping one another. Um,
I don't think I've ever noticed that before.
yeah, I just pull up any random picture and you'll notice that nothing's ever like the swords, the fire in the background.
Yeah, my brother used to watch that show, so then I used to watch that show because if one kid watches the show, everyone has
Right.
to.
Right. That's
I don't think I ever noticed that.
yeah. It's pretty. I mean, artwork wise alone, not just you know. I know that the episodes about Phil LaMarr, the artwork in it is fantastic. And the first episode,
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys remember it or not. First 9.5 minutes are silence, which is rare for a cartoon, let alone a cartoon in that era.
Right.
Because it's jumping off the walls and making loud fart jokes and being dumb.
The other strong voice I think of him from is, I want to say he was Static Shock.
He was Static Shock in the old Static Shock cartoon. He was super pumped about that one. I did a lot of research on Phil LaMarr. He was super pumped about that one because that's like the first time that first time he got to be a main character in a voice cartoon. And then the first teen African American like lead hero. And I want to say the cartoon won a couple of awards for like the shit that they tackled. They tackled like gun violence in school and racial profiling. It was really advanced for its time, I felt.
It was a really good
Yeah.
show, and I don't remember it going 4 seasons, but now that I'm looking at it, it says it went 4 seasons. So
I'm wondering if it's on HBO Max, because if it's not, and the rest of the stuff they put on there, how is it not?
yeah,
Because that's DC owned as well.
yeah.
Which I want to say, from my comic book half knowledge, that it did not start DC owned, and DC
No, I think it was independent.
pulled it in.
Yeah, it was an independent published, I believe.
He's just in everything.
He's seriously, yeah, he's and like
He was in
things
Bob's
that
Burgers, which we randomly mentioned because of the voice actor that does
Bob's Burgers,
Burgers.
He's in Family Guy. I don't know if anybody remembers the character Ollie Williams.
Mm-hmm. They look like ants.
It's really sideways. Yeah, that's him.
Yeah, who doesn't know that character?
And what's best is he was talking about it in an interview, and he goes, "It's like a 30-second gig." He goes, "I come in there and I go, it's raining sideways." And they go, "Can you say it angrier?" And he goes, "It's raining sideways." And I go, "Okay, great, thanks." And he walks out.
I mean, yeah, that character, that character, but he only has like 3 seconds.
And so he comes in and reads his lines and goes. I'll tell you what. So now that you're looking through like him and what he's been in, not to mention TV animation, he's everywhere. But not to mention actually in something physically, and then he does video game voiceovers, and he does movie voiceovers for animation.
He was in Grey's Anatomy. Like what? He does everything.
He has a net worth of $3 million, which is not bad for not. I don't want to say not doing the work, but like I'm pretty sure he's pretty relaxed and everything he's got going on. You know what I mean?
If I had to name my favorite role he's ever played, it was when he was in Shark Tale.
That's the video game.
No, it's the Shark Tale the movie. As the prawn shop owner.
Oh, really? Because he plays Oscar in the
I haven't watched
game.
Shark Tale since it came out, so I don't know who Oscar is. I assume one of the main.
I thought that was the main fish. What's
That
the
could
main
be.
fish's name?
That very well could be Cleve. Look, I don't know.
Why are you not up on your Shark Tales?
That's fair. Dang it.
So I have the main list, and then I have little things. And I don't even know if I'm going to get into all the little things because there's so many. I started just typing them out and listing them, and I was like, this is fucking forever.
So much.
He was in a Mr. T cartoon. That's where he first started. He played a character called Woody. I don't need anybody to try to get into it because none of us remember that cartoon. Go ahead.
Never mind. This is a side conversation.
No, go for it.
Do you remember them having an animated series for Friday the movie?
Nope. But we should watch that next.
He did 13 episodes of that. I think it only had one season, and he played Craig.
God, I love it.
What?
I don't know if anybody remembers the cartoon The Weekenders. I didn't until I looked it up, and then I super remembered it.
Sounds really familiar.
He played Carver, who's the main. There's a group of 4, I believe, and he was like.
Yeah, this is not a show I ever would have remembered.
But you remember it now, right?
Yep. Now I'm seeing it.
And I remember enjoying it.
Yeah.
I have fond memories of it, but I would if it wasn't for this, it would have never came up in my brain again. He's the Jon Stewart Green Lantern in almost everything, which it's so amazing. There's a video of him just switching his voice on and off because I'll do my best impression of him, but I'm sure it'll do no justice. He's like, you see these DC characters and they have really small legs and then they have big, great voices. And he was like, and then I read into the character and he's from Detroit. My dad's from Detroit, so I put a little rasp behind it. And just the level of I want to say just the range of different characters that this guy is pulling off makes him, to me, one of the best voice actors who's ever lived ever. Yeah.
Especially if a lot of these are if they're different and then they're not just like he's doing his voice for every single character. Did
either of you ever watch Jimmy Neutron?
Yeah.
Do you remember Bolby Strovanovsky?
I don't remember the character. Yeah, I saw that
on the foreign kid.
Oh. Yes, I do remember that kid.
That's him. Boom. He's there again. So
I was reminded that he's the second home buyer from Step Brothers. If you remember, they tried to convince them not to buy houses, so they came running out in clans, or they were in their.
He was. I remember that now. That's what I'm saying, man. Like, it's so in depth of the shit that he's been in, and it's just like, okay, bye. And he's
Al the
a
brown dog.
Too.
He's Al the brown dog and Clifford the big red dog.
Yes.
He's doing a lot of kids shit too.
The cartoon Young Justice. So he got into Young Justice and he applied to he auditioned to be Aqualad, and he didn't get it. And they were like, okay, well, we actually would want you to be Aquaman. He's like, oh, cool, we get to be like a black Aquaman. They're like, no, you're just gonna be Aquaman. And he says that he heard the voice actor who got Aqualad, and he's like, if I had the job and I heard his voice, I would have fired myself and hired that guy. That's how on point that guy was with what he did with that character.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
Just on the Weekenders, by the way, I definitely remember this. And
it was so good, I think.
It was like right at the same time that the Rocket Power was going to do.
It was. You know what? Not to super go off on the Weekenders, because I almost feel like it's an episode we need to hit up because nobody will remember it. But it was almost like it just wasn't super crazy. It was just like 4 kids that like went to school and like
did normal things.
Maybe somebody caught a cold that day. Like it was super chill show.
And just before it was the recess, so that was
right,
wildly different.
And he said that he noticed what he did with Aquaman, that like the versions of Aquaman got a bit tougher. He said that in his opinion, Aquaman was always kind of an afterthought, and then, you know, once he did this voice for this character, because he was like, you know, he's the king of Atlantis. And he goes, if you're king of the ocean, you're king of like 70% of the world. So, so he said that, you know, comics, he goes like, and now you got to Jason Momoa, and you're like, yeah, this is what I was kind of going for. This is what I was envisioning when I was voicing him. He was Wilt in Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends. I don't know
Oh,
if
I
anybody's
love
remembering
Will.
that
Yeah,
one.
I love Will.
The one that was basically Michael Jordan's imaginary friend without
Yeah.
saying it was Michael Jordan's imaginary friend.
Yeah, you basically just saw his legs most of the time because he's just 10
A
miles high.
massive giant.
Yeah.
And he was like, he would do something, he'd be like, is that okay? You know, I'm sorry. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Constantly. That was such a good cartoon too.
That was such a good cartoon. I liked that one.
You see what I'm saying though? Like, this is a man who was everywhere, and you had no idea he was everywhere.
Right. Yeah. I wouldn't have known because he didn't do the same voice for everything. So it's
Right.
not like it's easy to recognize him. Like there's, I don't remember his actual name, his real name, but he's Maz from the IT Crowd. But he's been in things, like he was in Mandalorian. He was the voice of something in Mandalorian.
The robot.
Yeah, and then he was the voice of something in. Oh, Derek's watching Disenchantment, and he's a voice in one of the episodes of there. And I was like, oh, Oz. Because
once you know about it, it's almost like you're spotting them out of fucking Where's Waldo books.
Yeah, but this guy, no clue that these were the same characters or same person.
Right. He said when he started doing Hermes, sorry, when he started doing Hermes' voice, it was like they had already were like, this is you know, this is his job, this is what he does. So he kind of made him like a real timid guy.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, and then one day they were like, hey, can you do a Jamaican accent? And he was like, this was his quote, and he was like, yeah, I can do a Jamaican. I mean, I applied for Cool Runnings as any black person did in the 90s. So he starts doing it, and he was doing it too thick, so he toned it down a little bit, where he would kind of talk softly and then kind of raise his voice like Hermes does now that we're all so familiar with. He did Kit Fisto and the Star Wars, the Clone Wars cartoon. So this is a character where if you're not really paying attention, you have no idea who he is. He was in the Attack of the Clones, but never actually spoke. He was like on the council, I think. Maybe. I don't know. Could be just making that up. Anyway, so he got to do an animated version of this character, so who's never spoken. So he got to really just do whatever he wanted, and he's the one that decided that aquatic kind of aliens should have a hint of an island accent. And he said he was excited because he got to be a Jedi, and he was born, you know, in he's born in 67, but he's born in the 70s. So anybody who ever got to be a Jedi born from that era, which I kind of took offense to, because I almost feel like anyone would be super pumped to be a Jedi if you know what Jedis are.
Right.
But,
I mean, sign me up to be a Jedi.
Right. He said it's the only Jedi that he's ever seen smile and take his shirt off.
Mm-hmm.
But that's because he goes underwater, and that makes sense. He's been doing live action since 1994, television since 1991, voice in video games since 1992, voice in film since 1994, and voice in animation since 1984.
Just a random fact, like talking about Hermes, do you know who does the voice of Barbados Slim? Because I had to look that up.
I don't.
It's John DiMaggio, who does Bender and a billion other voices, but he would also be another one that's...
He also... Well, I'm really focusing on a February Black History Month type thing.
Well, that's originally what I was like, who played Barbados Slim, but just
joking with you, man. He also does Hermes' son You know, the little knucklehead that always runs around with the professor clone.
Conrad? I don't remember his name.
Dwight?
Wicket.
All right. I wrote down the characters' names and shows, but I'm not going to say the characters' names. I'm just going to name the shows. Unless I think it's super cool.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, what are you going to say?
I was going to say, one of the reasons I think that a lot of the voice actors get good at playing a lot of voice actors, I don't know if we've ever talked about this, but the SAG like contracts that they have, if you're signed on to a show, you owe them up to 3 voices. They can have you for the same price they paid you for up to 3 voices. Any more you do after that, they pay you more. That's
cool.
why you tend to see them do a lot of voices, because they're like, I want to get my money out of this show.
That's funny because
it is Dwight, by the way.
I can't tell you how many times I just see his name and it's like various people. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
He does the robot Reverend in Futurama. Like, so Hey Arnold. He played Arnold's black friend's brother. I don't remember what Arnold's friend's name was. That might be my bad. That's probably not good for Black History Month direction.
I can look it up.
It's Gerald.
Gerald?
I was going to say Jeremiah, but I was like, that sounds bad.
It's been so long.
Yeah. I'm pretty confident. Like,
yeah, I think it's Gerald. I think that's right. As soon as you said it, I was like,
I'll double down on it. I'm with you. King of the Hill. Do you remember the black comic?
The one that does the driving lessons? What is his name?
Roger Buddha Sack.
Yep, Buddha Sack. He does the driver's ed thing for Hank Hill, and Hank Hill gets signed into it, and it's
talks about his mama. Yeah,
hilarity ensues. Talks about his flat ass.
Yeah. Clerks, the animated series. He does Axel Foley.
All right.
Apparently that crosses over.
Why did that? Yeah, whatever.
Buzz Lightyear in Star Command. Harvey Birdman, Attorney at Law. Justice League Unlimited. He does Steel. He does Future Static because they go into the future, and so he gets to reprise that role. And he does Stripe. And the only reason I mentioned that is because we all know who Stripe is now.
We all do know who Stripe is.
And Metal Gear Solid. He's in The Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy, where he does various voices. This one's for you, Michael. He voices Osmosis Jones and the TV show Ozzy and Drix.
It's a good show and a good movie.
Debatable. I just haven't seen it in a long time. I don't.
It was an okay movie. The show was way better.
I remember Chris Rock nailing it. He's the Earth King in Avatar: The Last Airbender. Oscar and Shark Tale the game. Nelson and Fillmore. Marty in the Madagascar game. Black Panther and Atu the Watcher.
Watu?
Yeah, sure. And Marvel Ultimate Alliance. He plays Gambit and Wolverine and the X-Men. He's in Adventure Time. He's in Iron Man 2 video game, Thor video game, X-Men Destiny, which is a video game, Darksiders 1 and 2, which is a video game.
I liked that video game, by the way. X-Men Destiny. It had potential. It wasn't great, but it had potential.
It did have potential, but it was not that great.
Sorry.
No, you're good. Baxter Stockman and the Ninja Turtles from 2012. That's the one where their eyes go white when they turn ninja mode. I wrote this one down because I thought it was funny. He voiced both Jar Jar Binks and Darth Vader in the Lego Star Wars. It's called the Padawan Mentis, and I just think it's weird that you were
able to do both
of those. Aquaman and Green Lantern, Jon Stewart in Injustice, Blade and Marvel Lego, Gil and Minecraft. That might be for someone listening. It doesn't do anything for me. And Philly Phil in Class of 3000. That is not all the voices he's done, That's when I got tired.
You're like, I'm done.
Yeah.
He was in Proud Family too.
Yep.
He's just in everything.
And he hosts Ask the Astronomers Live, which apparently is a thing that people were excited about. I assume they were excited about it because the title has an exclamation point at the end. I don't know what it is.
Just to tie back into something previously we talked about, Static Shock was originally published by Milestone Media, who is still distributed and published by DC. It was founded in 1993 by a coalition of African American artists and writers. So apparently, this was DC's like. That's how they're gonna push out black media, I guess. I don't know.
Seems super sketch.
It does.
Because you should just be able to do it as a big company and not have to make up a whole nother company.
Yeah.
I think it was like their way of putting out things that they didn't think were gonna do well. Hence, like characters
Even
like
worse.
Static Shock, which ended up doing really well. But
Right.
I like
And
Static Shock.
And then when Static Shock does do well, you're like, hey, come hang out with Batman and Superman and
they
stuff.
do that DC sticker on you real quick.
I mean, like, super good for them. Like, that makes me really happy, but fuck DC. Like,
well, and we've on other episodes we have talked about how horribly shitty the comic book industry truly is towards writers and artists. So,
but I think as long as this man's alive, anytime that Static Shock is gonna have a voice, it's gonna be him.
If it's ever live action, he better be his father, who was a cop, if I remember correctly.
His father was great in that show. I remember there was one time where I guess his best friend's dad, who was white, was like super judgmental of Static Shock, and like his dad put him in his place. Such a good episode. That show was hitting places before I was ready to at my age.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm such a really big fan of his, and I think he's amazing. And I figured that listeners might want to know that they've been listening to him since, depending on where you were born, to now, and didn't even know.
Had no clue. I've seen a lot of these shows. I even forgot about.
Or like the Foster's cartoon, like you've been watching that one forever because it's a good cartoon, and would have never guessed that he was in it.
No. I even
that.
like his character that he voices.
Yeah, and Eduardo, he was great. The big old bull, he was good stuff.
Yeah,
he was so scary. You guys remember Cheese? That was a terrible character.
Yeah.
No. Take your time and look it up if you need to. So, what main character had blue and created another imaginary character?
Why is it like the second Google thing that? Oh, yeah.
And it was cheese because mac and cheese.
And Mac blue cheese.
Yeah.
I actually thought that joke was funny. That was. I should have known it was Mac just from that stupid joke. But yeah, mac and cheese, and then blue cheese.
Yeah.
Blue was a dick.
Blue was a dick.
Not to
he was a lovable dick.
Not to be about just Foster's Home for Imaginary Kids for the end of the episode, but
man, I should just watch that show again.
Good show.
What is your favorite performance by him, Cleve?
Oh, Static and Green Lantern for sure. Because Green Lantern had a voice about him that I don't know if you remember his like renditions of John Stewart Green Lantern, but he took no shit from anybody. I don't know if it's the writing or just how they wrote it around that character while he was voicing it.
Yeah.
But he would tell anyone in the Justice League to eat a dick in a moment and not hesitate.
Let us know at home what your guys' favorite Phil LaMarr voice acting or acting, if you liked them in a movie or show. Mm-hmm. I keep thinking back to Mad TV. Throughout this whole episode, I've been thinking about whether or not Mad TV was any good, and I don't know.
I think good came of it. I don't think it was great.
I think it was good when I watched it as a child. even though I was told not to watch it as a child.
Yeah, that was a show that you were not allowed to watch.
What's funny is someone was interviewing him. They were like, "Oh, I used to love Mad TV," and he was like, "Oh, then you must have been 13 when it came out." And he was like, "Hey, man, don't judge me." And it's true. It's true. Anybody that's like, "Yeah, Mad TV, I remember that," and have fond memories, you were
a child.
That's why this podcast has ruined me, and I now question everything that Adam Sandler's done. So I question everything that anything has ever been.
Then just don't watch it again.
Let's just go back and watch Mad TV, man. Yeah. Season 1.
You know how I know it's not good is I remember Stewart, and I remember like as a kid thinking it was hilarious, and he does the high pitched.
He's got the
he
rosy.
Yells, "Look what I can do!" I'm not gonna even do the voices, but like I remember doing those as a kid and thinking it was fucking hilarious. And now I know how stupid it was, so I'm like, that wasn't good.
That
whole show
might be kind of funny.
Or you remember Miss Swan?
I do remember Miss Swan. That's where I thought you were going. I thought you were going Miss Swan because you tend to take the most offense to those. It's a different time, man. 1995.
Yeah, right. My dad loved that shit. That motherfucker was born in Vietnam. This motherfucker's like, he looking like a man. No, come on, don't do this to me. Fucking damn it.
You know what? Here's the thing. When it can ring true is sometimes when you can make that accent and be funny, but like I don't know that hers was like if that didn't remind you of your grandma, then it's gonna miss the mark. You know what I mean? Like but yeah, I forgot her famous quote. But yeah, he looked like a man was it.
She does the voice of Lois now, so I'm trying to just forgive her. Although I don't really care for that show much anymore either.
I mean, I can lose Lois completely and be fine. I'm gonna tell you right now, I can look at Jennifer and go, "Hey, looking like a man," and she'll crack the fuck up. I also have to squint when I do it, which makes me feel bad as a person.
Yeah, it does. it does.
I guess that's the answer.
Yeah, if you can't do it in public without being like, "Fuck," shit. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I just, if you guys have any suggestions on episodes you guys would like to hear from us, let us know on our social medias. You can find us on all social media platforms at Friendship Supreme, except for Twitter, which has no eyes, because all the eyes are on YouTube, because you get to watch us make stupid ass faces, or you get to see, I don't know, us. We're kind of cute. I've been Michael.
This is Cleve.
This is Stephanie.
And I don't have a quote because this man has too many things, and you don't even have to go look him out because he's fucking everywhere. So just now pay attention to him.
He's probably behind you.